Vice President Joe Biden is in Guatemala today, meeting with Central American leaders. He's hoping to get their help in stopping the surge of unaccompanied minors arriving in the U.S.
Opening more housing facilities, the Biden administration is still struggling with a surge of migrant children at the border.
A report from the Federation for Immigration Reform, FAIR it's called, that says illegal immigration is costing American taxpayers $116 billion a year. That's after taking into consideration the taxes illegal immigrants pay back.
Education usually gets the most money and attention in every city because it's vital for a good future. But what if the government took a big chunk of that money away from education and gave it to a group that isn't even from that city or country? Illegal migrants. We are talking about billions of cutoffs. Would you be mad? The Learning to Work program, which helps students who might drop out, is in trouble.
$12 billion by 2025. Mayor Eric Adams says the total is more than the budget for the city's fire, parks, and sanitation departments combined.
Most of its money, about $32 million out of $40 million, is going to be used for migrants instead. This is a big problem. And it gets worse. There has been a huge influx of illegal migrant kids, over 470,000 since 2021. All these migrant kids are costing the public school system about $2 billion every year. Welcome back to our channel, everyone. We're going to talk more about this issue, so stick around. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. We'll explore why this shift in funding is happening and what it means for students who rely on programs like Learning to Work. The problem of illegal migrant children impacting the American public education system is multifaceted and significant in scale.
Migration north.
And Amna joins me now from McAllen, Texas, on the U.S. southern border, where it is very windy.
The fate of the Learning to Work program hangs precariously, threatening thousands of students at risk of dropping out. With 3/4 of its budget, $32 million out of $40 million, sourced from federal pandemic stimulus funds, the program faces uncertainty. The Learning to Work initiative serves as a vital resource for 16,000 students across various schools and centers, offering support to those facing academic challenges, criminal records, or other barriers to graduation. However, the program's future is jeopardized by the financial crisis, exacerbated by the costly migrant situation in New York City. Additionally, the influx of approximately 3 million illegal immigrants in fiscal year 2023 has placed immense strain on public education and taxpayer resources.
I urge the mayor to abandon this counterproductive and cruel tactic.
The U.S. Customs and Border Protection encountered over 470,000 unaccompanied migrant children since President Joe Biden took office in 2021, with many enrolling in public schools. This influx could potentially cost the public education system billions of dollars over the past 3 years, further exacerbating financial burdens and resource allocation challenges. Also, cases in California, New York, Texas, and Arizona where unaccompanied minors were placed with sponsors. In California, for instance, over 11,000 migrant kids were sent to sponsors, potentially costing taxpayers nearly $190 million extra if they all enrolled in public schools. New York saw over 8,000 such children, potentially adding around $240 million to the taxpayer tab. Texas had a staggering 16,000 plus unaccompanied migrant children released to sponsors, ringing up a bill of nearly $230 million. Even Arizona, with its smaller numbers, could see taxpayers shelling out over $10 million extra due to the influx.
Not really. I'm an immigrant myself.
I want my tax dollars to go toward my kids, but the softer side of me feels bad for these kids.
The impact of sudden influxes of migrant children on American schools extends beyond just finances. It directly affects students, parents, and educators, leading to overcrowded classrooms, stretched resources, and compromised academic quality. In January, frustrated New York City parents voiced their outrage when Brooklyn High School students were barred from attending in-person classes to accommodate migrant children housed in the school gymnasium. The disruption left students and parents feeling sidelined with concerns about the quality of education their children were receiving. One such incident unfolded at public school MS 577, where students and parents took to the streets in protest, marching around the school to demand action. They were dismayed by the decision to house migrants in the gymnasium, feeling that it compromised their children's access to essential school facilities and resources. Moreover, reports emerged of New York public schools struggling to effectively educate the influx of 20,000 new migrant students enrolled for the 2023-2024 school year. These challenges highlight the real-world consequences of policy decisions on education, underscoring the need for thoughtful and equitable solutions to address the needs of all students, regardless of their immigration status. Before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay informed and engaged in discussions on building a better future together. Subscribe now. The government's response to the influx of migrants and its impact on public education has some glaring issues. One big problem is that a lot of the kids arriving don't speak English, which makes teaching really tough. This affects both teachers and students, making it hard to understand lessons and progress in school. Another issue is the financial strain this puts on schools. The report suggests collecting data on immigrant students to figure out how much it costs, but there's still a lack of clear planning and support from the government. Critics are also calling out the Biden administration for not doing enough to secure the border. This has created a bunch of problems for schools, like overcrowded classrooms and safety concerns.
Reason they came.
But not everyone gets the chance to try and start life over in the U.S. Just yesterday, we met a man from El Salvador who was likely to be deported. He told us he'll be killed if he's sent back.
To make matters worse, cutting funding for programs like Learning to Work is a major setback. These programs help students who are struggling to stay in school and graduate. Michael DeVito from the New York Center for Interpersonal Development says these programs are a lifeline for many vulnerable students. Despite their success, these programs are facing uncertainty because of funding issues. There's a lot of talk, but not enough action to ensure that important programs like Learning to Work can keep helping students who need it most. The challenges stemming from the influx of migrants and its impact on public education extend far beyond the classroom, with significant implications for New York City's community as a whole. One major concern is the potential strain on social cohesion. As schools become overcrowded and resources stretch thin, tensions may arise among different segments of the community, leading to divisions and resentment. Additionally, the disruption to education caused by these challenges can affect students' social and emotional development, impacting their ability to engage positively with their peers and broader society. Economically, the financial burden on public education can have ripple effects on the city's stability. With resources diverted to accommodate migrant children, there may be less funding available for other essential services and programs, potentially hindering economic growth and development initiatives. For example, the budget for education, just to give you an example, includes cuts to the Learning to Work program. There are also painful budget cuts to New York City services announced on Thursday, which would freeze police hiring and close libraries on Sundays. It was warned that more cuts would be necessary without additional federal funding to manage the migrant crisis. The budget cuts would bring the number of police department officers below 30,000 for the first time since the 1980s, and slash the education department budget by $1 billion over 2 years. Yes, you heard it right. Even other departments such as the NYPD would result in less security for the people of New York City. The influx of migrants isn't just straining our schools, it's also hitting our city budget hard. Imagine this: essential programs like Learning to Work, which helps struggling students, are getting slashed. And it's not just education suffering, police hiring is frozen, and libraries are closing on Sundays. These cuts aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet, they're affecting our safety and access to vital services. With fewer police officers, keeping our streets safe becomes tougher. And closing libraries means less access to books and resources for everyone. How can we advocate for fair solutions that prioritize all students regardless of their background? Let's ponder this question and collaborate on finding practical solutions to ensure every student has access to quality education and support. It's a tough situation. We're already trying to support migrant children in our schools, and now we're being asked to do more with less. Without extra help from the federal government, things could get even worse. We need solutions that look out for everyone in our community, regardless of where they come from. That means finding ways to manage the migrant crisis without sacrificing essential services or compromising safety. It's a big challenge, but with the right support, we can find solutions that work for everyone. Let's join forces to ensure every student receives the education and support they deserve. How can you contribute to creating equitable opportunities for all students in your community? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay informed and engaged in discussions on building a better future together.